probably make the trek over to Aspen from there. And
very nice.
Up on the mountain.
Yeah. So, and I don't know when the last time you were here, but if you're back over the Christmas holidays, speaking of like just wine places, and you'd mentioned Frosca and Stuckey, you should really check out their new spot here in Denver, Tavernetta.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's wild. I wouldn't mind going there and sharing a glass of wine with you or something.
We
I remember where I went last time. Was it Hop? You guys know? Was it Hop? It was like this.
Hop Alley?
Yeah, that place was dope. That was good.
Dude, they have this fried soft-shelled crab, and you like put it in the lettuce wrap. Oh, dude, it's fire. It's fire.
So even though we like to harp on like Colorado food scene, where's the last I guess you don't live in LA, but what was the last great meal you had in California? Just since, we have a lot of people here in Colorado that go out to California or either from California. So if we have like somebody traveling to California, say LA, or where was your last great meal in California?
Last great meal in California was at my house. We cooked it up fierce. So if I would say, first of all, Raj Par, he has a little restaurant in Santa Barbara called BBG, which has got amazing natural wine list and like incredible like fresh Indian food. And so if you've picked up on the fact that I like the spice train, I do. I think Santa Barbara has some of the most amazing hole in the wall taco joints in the entire state. That's a fact for sure. My buddy Sam Rethmeyer is the wine director over at Republique in LA. They do an incredible job. If you get down to LA, go to Republique. Beautiful, beautiful place. And then in San Francisco, man, there's a lot of places I go. There's amazing Asian food in San Francisco, and for like the old school classics like Chez Panisse and Zuni Cafe.
Yeah.
You're not going to find – I mean, those places are still crushing. And
right.
They do an incredible job. I mean, you go to Zuni and get the chicken, and you're just having a nice day. I know it's chicken, but it's like next level chicken.
Dude, you mentioned something about Santa Barbara, and it made me want to ask you this question. You also live down the street from your buddy who's also a master som and is in the area. You said Santa Barbara's kind of got hole-in-the-wall tacos, and it sounds like your buddy has a restaurant that's got some bomb Indian food. Is it Yuppieville, or is it kind of like a nice little niche y'all found, a kind of cool corner with a bunch of hip folks? Like, what's the scene like over there?
No. So Santa Barbara is kind of an anomaly. I mean, you have a lot of wealth, but for a lot of people, it's like second homes, and Montecito and stuff. But then you have a college town, and I'd say the actual bourgeois workforce, is less than 30%. The rest is college and old money there. So you have this interesting cross section, but it's really laid back because it's a beach town, man. It's Santa Barbara.
Right.
You get a lot of bros, you get a lot of it's a very laid back atmosphere. It's kind of an island, in a way, in the same way Hawaii is and has a certain culture. Santa Barbara has its own culture. I mean, LA is close, but it's not that close.
That's right.
It's an hour and a half drive. And, it's also not close to San Francisco at all, so it's its own vibe for sure. San Diego, maybe San Diego and Santa Cruz are similar in style, more Santa Cruz, but San Diego's, it's a big city. It's a major city. Santa Barbara's tiny.
Yeah, I've had some fun times in San Diego. Maybe stories that are not allowed to listen, just in case my family may be listening. But San Diego is a pop. I'm not gonna lie, all of Southern California seems to pop. We have some friends that live down there, actually, kind of where you grew up. So we get to go play around in Newport on occasion. Shout out to our friend Alden down there. But let me ask you a question, to play off of what Chris said. Dank food, but you travel all the damn time. Where's a sleeper place that people wouldn't think has fire food, country, city, and like a hole-in-the-wall city maybe, outside of your Paris, France, or, your big names? Let's give a shout-out to maybe a sleeper cell for a dank-ass restaurant across the world.
Oh, it's over. We just ended. It's over right now because it's Galicia. That's the best-kept secret. Northwest Spain. Galicia. So you can make the argument, You can make the argument Northwest Spain has the best seafood and the best steak in the world.
That's my dream.
Surf and turf.
You can make that argument.
And we're Southern guys, so we love all sorts of seafood. Yes. You answered that so quickly. I feel you're very confident.
You're going to be hurt because, like, you're going to go there and you're going to have the seafood there, and you'll never want to have it anywhere else. It's out of control. And then, like, the steak. So there's this place, like, you know, outside of Leon, kind of back towards the country. So you're in Castilla Leon. You're just across the border from Galicia. And there's this steak place where they raise these cows for like 18 years. You know, that's like against USDA. They're too scared about mad cow and stuff like that. But what happens when a cow is that old is all that marbling that you love in the steak. It's so evenly distributed, and the quality of the marbling is incredible too. So there's this epic steak place there that is without question like one of the greatest steak places in the world, period.
That's incredible.
Yeah, the beef there.
I'm going to start looking at Scott's cheap flights and seeing how we can maybe justify a trip over there, do a little stoned appetit, our food segment. Maybe you have to go over there.
Yeah. It's called El Capricho, and there's like a million El Caprichos. You got to go to the right El Capricho.
I'll shoot you a text before I go and be like, I'm going to need name drops, recommendations, and all of that. But that sounds awesome. Speaking of stoned appetit, oh wait, go ahead, Chris.
Oh yeah, so I got a question though. Since you are like, you know, we're Colorado based, and since you're married to a native here, does she ever try to get you back? Do you guys ever talk about coming back to Colorado, or are you a California through and through?
No, I think we talk about moving to Europe all the time.
Oh, okay.
She's got a big job in the United States, so that's like that's a long ways off. But you know, I spend, you know, probably 4 or 5 months in Europe, you know, and so I kind of have the unique freedom, since the business is online, where, you know, I can literally live anywhere I want. So, you know, the question becomes, let's play Where's Home? You know, let's play that game a little bit and have some fun with it.
So I've got one kind of more like nerdy question for maybe our listeners who like really want to know about wine and all that stuff. So kind of 2 questions. One is, have you noticed, like, because I lived over in England for graduate school. So have you noticed, and when I was over there, I noticed that their organic farming practices are a lot more strict than the U.S. And another question is, are all natural wines organic, or like, are those two mutually exclusive, or
okay. Well,
was that a little too nerdy?
No, not at all. Not at all.
The London practices.
Let me address your first question. First of all, England's amazing. And without question, if you were to pick one city in the world that is the best wine market in the world, it is London, 100%. They get everything, absolutely every allocation of every possible amazing wine on the planet. London is the Mecca. But in regards to the natural wine question, yes-ish. So every natural wine is organic, but not every organic wine is a natural wine. And I think here's where the asterisk comes in. Is the natural wine movement was never a codified movement. It was more a rage against the machine. It was more a rage against mass marketing. It was more a rage against mechanization and a lack of being connected to nature. So it was never a situation where it was like, yes, we are natural wine and it has to be organic and it has to be no sulfur and no additives and no this. It was more like, let's start farming with respect organically. Let's start there. Mm-hmm. And then let's try to be more minimally invasive in the cellar. And so now you have kind of this like civil war within the wine industry of people who hate the term natural wine for multiple reasons. One, there's a lot of people who kind of game up the idea of natural wine, and they think that that hands off means that they can like leave their wine in a goat skin to rot and then serve it, which is not actually, it's quite the opposite. If you work naturally and you want to use natural yeast instead of inoculating with yeast that you buy in a nursery, if you want to do that and you want to not use sulfur throughout that fermentation process, you better be incredibly vigilant in monitoring that fermentation, because it can go haywire on you in a whole minute. And so, I think truly great natural wine producers are monitoring, temperature control, things like that, and are really attuned to it. And really, this movement is kind of in its incubation. And I think a lot of what we call conventional producers will start working a lot more naturally. And I think the hardcore dyed-in-the-wool natural wine producers will learn how to be more technical in their process. But it's a kind of a gray area and a gnarly rabbit hole that we go down when we try to even define natural.
Interesting. See, and that's a great question. Like, I was wondering if they kind of both were this, like, mutual, like you said, mutually exclusive. But I didn't know what you're talking about with London. I was lost there.
Oh, well, no. So I was just talking about
the practices of.
I think that like to be certified organic in Europe
you have to have
is a lot stricter than to be certified organic in the U.S.
Gotcha. I didn't know. I was like, what is he? I didn't get it. All right, I'm back on train now. Now I'm back on. Sorry. So this is I guess I was about to mention something. We were talking about food, and I wanted to kind of pick his brain. You mentioned earlier, I guess, that you had a fire-ass meal at your house the other day, and we were talking about fire-ass meals around the state and around the world. If there's a late-night guilty pleasure snack you're going to, maybe you drank a bunch of wine, but before you go to bed, maybe you smoked a little bowl and you're still hungry. What's the late-night snack that's either coming out of the fridge or shit? Maybe it's a stand on the side of the road for you since you're always somewhere different. What's your Stoned Appetit late-night snack for our listeners?
Oh man, it's like, I mean, do you honestly, guys, answer honestly, do you really have one Stoned Appetit situation? Do you always go to the well with a specific thing, or is it always in the moment? Oh, I want tacos. Oh, I want a burger. Oh man, this chili is like amazing right now. Is it always one thing? I mean, I mix it up. Don't you?
That's a good point. Yes, I definitely do that. And especially when you are a little bit litty McTitty, you can go for anything. I guess hungover food, though, and Chris will vouch, I'm a fried chicken and biscuits guy every time. And that may be the Southern upbringing, but I'll defer to Chris on that one. That's just hangover food. So you're right on the Stoned Appetit. It could go a lot of different directions. For the late
gets trashy for me. That's the one consistent theme. It just gets trashy. It's dark college days fast food, right? Or a bag of Doritos, or like, Taco Hell, or it's, Jack in the Crack, or it's In-N-Out Burger, which would be like the ultimate, for me in terms of like crack fast food. But it just goes down a dirty, eating my feelings rabbit hole.
First In-N-Out
in that situation, for sure.
Really I go to Trader Joe's, buy a bottle of $2 Chuck and Lay's potato chips and just sit in a dark corner.
So we had a huge drinking night the other night. I mean, there were tons of bottles and not a lot of people, which tends to happen. But, we ended up going to this place in Sonoma called, oh my God, I can't believe I'm spacing on the name right now. But it's this taco joint, and Molino Central, and we just had this like nachos just like covered in cheese. I mean, I take it back. Nachos for me has got to be the ultimate.
There you go. Everybody's got that one favorite.
It is. It wins over everything for sure. Nachos wins. Yeah,
that's really a good question. But Chris asked made a good point when he said the $2 Chuck and a bag of Lay's. If you wanted to give our listeners, obviously it's not the wine wine club, excuse me. What's a good sleeper? I know you mentioned 50s about your range. Let's go under $30. You had a bad day at the office and you just want to unwind. You have a decanter and you have an aerator, that's fine, but it's just a good bottle that you could go to. You want to give something our listeners would probably take your advice to behave.
Do you want me to be totally honest?
Yep.
If I had a bad day, it's with